Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today, Vistance Networks Incorporated just filed a current report, and I am seeing a big payout heading to shareholders. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. The company announced its second quarter results, and there is a significant dividend planned, which is directly linked to a recent sale of a business unit. Alright, so Vistance Networks Incorporated, a company in the technology and communication equipment space, has put out its latest update. The big news here is tied to a recent sale. They have offloaded a business segment, and the proceeds from that sale are going to fund a substantial payout to their shareholders. This is something investors always watch closely, especially when a company decides to return capital directly to them. The filing itself is pretty straightforward. It is an 8K, which is a report for significant events that happen outside of the normal reporting schedule. In this case, the main event is the release of their second quarter financial results and the announcement of this special dividend. The press release attached details these financial results. Now, Vistance Networks, or VISN as it is traded on the Nasdaq, is a decent sized company with a market capitalization around $2.8 billion. They have about 4,500 employees. The market has been watching them, and this dividend news is clearly a major talking point. The stock has seen some volatility, trading between $9.47 and $20.55 over the last year, and it is currently sitting around $12.35. The core of this filing for us is what is happening with their financials and the story behind the numbers. Vistance Networks announced their second quarter of 2026 results on the 6th of August. This isn't just about quarterly earnings though, it is about what they're doing with the money they've made, or in this case, the money they got from selling a part of their business. The press release attached here is key. It tells us that the company is planning a special dividend payment of $5 per S-share. This is a pretty generous payout, especially when you consider the current stock price. This dividend is directly linked to the proceeds from the sale of their Ruckus Networks business. This kind of distribution often happens when a company sells off a non-core asset or restructures its operations. It is a way to reward shareholders and simplify the business. Now, let's think about what this means. Selling a business unit like Ruckus Networks indicates a strategic shift. Companies do this for various reasons, like focusing on their core strengths, shedding underperforming segments, or simply realizing value from an asset. For Vistance Networks, it seems they've decided to focus on their main operations and return the cash generated from the sale to investors. This $5 per S-share dividend is significant. If you own, say, 100 shares, that is a $500 payout. For a stock trading around $12, that is a massive return on investment for that specific event. It can also signal confidence from management in the remaining business, as they are willing to distribute such a large chunk of capital. However, it also means that the business going forward will be smaller without the Dividend unit. Investors will be looking at how the remaining parts of Vistance Networks perform without Ruckus Networks. Looking at the broader context, Vistance Networks is in the communication equipment industry. This is a competitive field. Companies like Cisco, Juniper Networks, and others are major players. The decision to sell Ruckus Networks might be a move to streamline operations and compete more effectively in their chosen niche. The market's reaction to this news will tell us if investors believe this strategy is sound. The stock price movement following this announcement will be closely watched. The financial results themselves for the second quarter are detailed in the press release. While this 8K filing doesn't include the full financial tables here, the press release would typically outline revenue, earnings per S-share, and any other key performance indicators. The external news mentions a $3.4 billion return figure, which likely relates to the sale proceeds or a combination of results and the sale. We need to be careful to distinguish between operating results and one-time events like asset sales. This move to pay out a large dividend from a sale reminds me a bit of how some companies manage their portfolios. For example, when a larger company spins off a division, they often return some of the capital to shareholders. However, this is a company that is relatively smaller, and a $5 dividend on a $12 stock is quite substantial. It is essentially a significant cash return event. This is not like a regular dividend that a company pays out of its ongoing profits. This is a special distribution. The key risk here is how the remaining business will perform. Vistance Networks will need to demonstrate that its core operations can continue to grow and be profitable without the Ruckus Network segment. Investors will be scrutinizing their future earnings reports to see if the company can maintain its valuation and growth trajectory. The market will also be evaluating if the price paid for Ruckus Networks was indeed a good deal for Vistance Networks shareholders, resulting in this large payout. Top institutional holders like BlackRock and Vanguard own significant stakes, so their actions and sentiment will also be important indicators. If they see this as a positive move, it could support the stock price. However, if they believe the company is divesting too much, or that the remaining business has challenges, they could reduce their holdings. What I am actually looking for is how Vistance Networks will reinvest or grow its core business after this substantial capital return. Will they focus on research and development acquisitions, or simply continue to return capital if more divestitures occur? The strategy moving forward will be crucial for long-term shareholder value. Oh, and the research tools I actually use are linked in the description. They help keep this channel going. That is my take. Stay decoded. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Check out the Discord in the description.